Welcome to Author Nation. Today we are diving into resilience, where we're going to explore turning losses into wins, overcoming obstacles, and lifetime learning. I'm your host, Melody Ann, and I'm here to guide you towards actionable insights and strategies that will not only help you write with purpose, but also connect with your readers on a deeper level. At Author Nation, we are committed to equipping you with the tools, inspiration, and community you need to succeed as a nonfiction author. So jump on over to authornation.online and where you're going to find a treasure trove of resources. Pick the one that suits you right now and get started. Okay, so whether you're sipping your morning coffee or this is you winding down at the end of a day, settle in as we explore how resilience can transform your writing and your ability to share your story with the world. But first, let me introduce my guest. Marie Ferdinand Harris is the first and only Haitian-born player in the WNBA. She recently released a book, Transformed: The Winning Side of Losing. Her journey is marked by powerful experiences as a USA basketball Olympic champion, a Hall of Fame inductee at the Louisiana State University, a 12-year veteran of the WNBA, and a three-time WNBA All-Star. Marie's mission is to guide individuals in mastering their resilience factor, helping them cultivate resilience and achieve transformational success. Let's welcome Marie. Hi, Marie. How are you today?
Hello, doing well, doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good. Yeah, no, thank you. You know something that really excites me about women's sports right now?
Yes.
So in 2022, in
Mhm.
Portland, Oregon, the very first all women's sports bar was opened called the Sports Bra. And it's the first one that only plays women's sports, right?
Yes, I am familiar with that. Very familiar with it.
Yeah, well, I think that's really exciting because women's sport really is starting to be showcased and, and I love the fact that we're starting to take the forefront in that. So your
Absolutely.
career
Yes.
from being WNBA All-Star to becoming an author has definitely been marked with resilience. I can't imagine. So how does resilience play a role in writing, especially if you're facing rejections or writer's blocks or setbacks? How has resilience helped you as an author?
You know, I was writing a book and it's been almost a year and a half and I couldn't finish this book. But then tragedy struck and that was my coping mechanism. It was after we lost our 14-year-old son, I was really motivated and just I had the desire to finish this book. So even in loss, I found my greatest strength and I was able to finish the book. So being resilient for me, it's not just always about being tough, is how we respond to life's challenges. What is our attitude? And for me at the time, losing my 14-year-old son, it wasn't about just having this pity party. I wanted to see how do I turn this horrible tragedy into something that can become inspiring to other women who may be facing a loss. So I was able to have this strength and finish my book.
That's amazing. I'm really sorry that you lost your 14-year-old son. Is that a picture of him behind you? Is
Yes,
that the young man?
so that's
Uh,
okay. Yes, we host the
Beautiful.
BICA Foundation in his honor. Bright young man, have a heart for Jesus, love deeply, very compassionate. That is CJ.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for having an image of him uh,
Absolutely.
today. That's beautiful. And so
Mhm.
you through this tragedy, you found this strength, the strength of a mother, I'm going to say, to write your book Transformed. So how, thinking about other nonfiction authors,
Mhm.
how can they do the same thing? How can they turn this professional or personal loss into their power and into maybe valuable lessons for their readers?
For me, I would say embrace the setback and fuel the comeback. It's what I did. I embraced that setback and I fueled for a comeback. And writing this book has been so touching, inspiring. And it's been something that women has used to be able to move forward, and so that's my the best way to answer that question is to embrace the setback and
Yeah.
fuel the comeback.
Yeah. Can we dig into this word embrace just a little bit? Because I'm really curious. So, I have never lost a child. I have no idea what it's like. I'm obviously, um, but in my imagination, I would just stop functioning. And
Yeah.
so, I would just lie, I'd lie in bed and cry all day. So how, when we're like, how do we embrace loss
Mhm.
and find the fire in it? Could you dig a little deeper into that for me?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I'm a very spiritual woman. Everything is my faith. I rely on my faith in everything. And with me having the foundation in place of what is faith and having a relationship with Christ, I wouldn't be able to take a loss of my son well if I didn't know who Jesus was. And because I'm this mama bear where I'm very hands-on with my children, Jesus would have been the only one I would have released CJ to, knowing that he's now in his care. So my faith has carried me through to embrace that God doesn't make a mistake. I trust his plans, and he wanted CJ more. The time he gave me with CJ, I had done a great job, and now it was time for CJ to go to the next level. So my faith had carried me through embracing loss and having peace and trusting that process.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for digging. I know that that can't be an easy thing to dig into. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it. Now we're talking about embracing. Let's talk about embracing your unique story because you have a unique story. And so how, can you talk a little bit about how you kind of identified that story and then leveraged that personal experience to create a book that connects with readers?
Absolutely. I truly believe I have mastered the failure quotient. The failure quotient, meaning every failure, every circumstance, I've turned into success. Growing up in a challenging area in Miami, Florida, where it's the worst area to raise a family. But at the time, I was being raised by a single mom, a single parent who struggled raising 8 kids on her own in an area where there's crime is at the all-time high. You're less likely to go to college. I mean, the odds are stacked against you. But at a very young age, I watched my mom. I watched to see how she was handling hard times. And it was my first introduction to hard work and work ethic, watching my mom display that every day, keeping a smile on her face. So I literally took that. I said, you know what? If I can work hard and put forth hard work into my gifts and my talents, I can become something. I can go to college. I can pursue higher education. And that is what I did. I was never focused on my circumstances. I focused on where lies a light, where is an opportunity. And at the age of 13, I hear this announcement of anyone interested in girls basketball. And I go and try out. And literally, it changed the whole trajectory of my whole life. I end up going to LSU. I end up becoming a Hall of Famer at LSU, getting my degree, and then getting drafted into the WNBA. So it's all through just hard work, having a good attitude, and daring to dream, regardless of your circumstances.
Yeah, that's amazing. And as an author, how did you translate that into a book? Because when you're speaking, there's so much passion, and I'm so drawn in, like goosebumps. How
Yeah.
did you translate that into the written word? Do you have any secrets you can share
I
out?
Yes, just my whole journey to becoming the first ever Haitian woman to ever grace the floor of a WNBA, going to Harvard, coming from where I come from. You don't do these things. Going to LSU and being a Sports Hall of Fame, how did I do this from where I come from? I just feel like this needs to be shared. I need to write about this. The world needs to learn how to focus on opportunities, not circumstances, which motivated me to start writing about it and sharing the sauce, like they say, or sharing the cheat code, or sharing how I did it in hopes of inspiring others to do the same.
Yeah. I love how you say that because I know sometimes when people write their memoir, they
Mhm.
often focus on, how life was hard and how they've been hurt. And what I hear you saying is, yes, these things happened, but in my book, what I'm focusing on is how I overcame. I'm telling people the path that they can read, watch, and then take themselves
Yeah.
to get what they're wanting in life. That's what I'm hearing from you. That's amazing.
Absolutely. It wasn't more about sharing my accomplishments. No, it was using the book to be an inspiration to someone else. It
Yeah.
was being the woman I needed when I was a little girl, and being able to share with someone that can carry them through hard times.
Yeah. Yeah. Although your mother sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say your mom sounds like an amazing woman who smiled no matter what and just showed you the light, really. Helped you see your own path. So that's amazing. So now the book's out and now you're out engaging with readers. So what does that
Yes.
look like?
So now I'm out there. Well, I my goal was not just to write the book, but I wanted to be very intentional about the book. I wanted to go and speak on stages. I wanted to go and do podcasts. I wanted to go to schools and share it and form book clubs and invite people to dig deep, dive deeper into the whole transform the winning side of losing. I wanted them to dive deeper. So I wanted an intimate group to really understand how was I able to do what I did and help them find strength within themselves to do the same thing. So that was my goal, is to write the book, but not just have the book on Amazon or to just, sell a book, but to go and form book clubs and engage with students or young professionals, or attend conferences and talk about the book.
Yeah, I love that. So you've been speaking at schools, you've been, getting your book into school libraries,
Yes,
you've been figuring out how to set up book clubs, you've been, I'm assuming, speaking on stages as well
yes,
to
and
people. That's awesome. All right.
conferences. Yes.
Yeah, amazing. All right, out there, if you're listening to this, you are probably as excited as I am about this story. This is amazing. So, if you want to learn more about Marie, you can find her at marieferdinand.com. It's on the screen and it will be in the show notes. So, whether you're watching or listening on the podcast, you'll have access to that. Okay, let's move on. Because you've overcome a lot of obstacles. Let's talk about obstacles as an author. So writing a book and navigating the publishing world, that's tough. I mean, maybe not as tough as being an all-star, but it's tough. So what are some of the obstacles you hit along the way as an author, and how did you overcome them and stay motivated?
Growing up, my mom, although she tried her hardest, she worked 3, 4 jobs, and she really was never much at home because she was always working, trying to, make ends meet for her 8 children. So I feel like there's a lot of foundational skill sets that I missed out on because we were sheltered. We were always in the home because we didn't live in a safe environment. So we didn't attend leadership camps and boys and girls clubs and YMCA. We didn't do these things. So a lot of foundational skill sets, I believe I missed out on a lot of them. And being bilingual, where my parents' first language is Creole, and so that was the prime predominantly spoken language in our home, which is Creole. So growing up, I wasn't very confident in writing and speaking, and I feel that that is why I had this setback of not finishing the book. I wasn't confident in the writing process until I lost CJ, and it was just this strength to write the book, write the book, write it where you are, just finish it, and that encouraged me to get the book done. that was one of the biggest obstacle is thinking that I wasn't an equipped writer, because I felt like there were some things that I didn't get. I didn't speak well, or I didn't write well. So it hindered me from getting the book out sooner than later.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I like what you said. You just said right from where you are.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right from where you are. Don't worry about whether your language is perfect. Just right from where you are. And the thing is, you can find help along the way, right? It's not something you have to do all by yourself. You have to get the words on the paper,
Yeah.
but once they're out, other people can come and help you with that. And so
Absolutely.
no matter what you think of your language skills, just write from where you are, and then get
Absolutely.
help. And I'm assuming that's something you did. You just kind of wrote from where you are, and you got support along the way, and that probably built your confidence as well.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened, Melody. I started right where I was and got and found the inner confidence to just start where you are. And along the way, I started to get the people that can come. I found an editor. I found people that can help me make it to where it flowed perfectly. But the biggest thing is to start where you are, right where you are, whether that's in a season of loss, that's you dealing with circumstances, whether it's transitioning, start where you are. That's when you're gonna write the most powerful things that can make such big difference in others' lives.
Yeah, yeah. And so many people are afraid of writing I don't know, they're afraid of writing garbage. And I
Mhm,
always say, look, yes, if you're going to write, whether you're Stephen King or, whoever you happen to be, if you're going to write, some of it is going to be brilliant and some of it not so brilliant. And that's the nature of writing, right? So,
yeah.
and I'm thinking that as you were going along, because you came to it with this idea of, I'm not sure I have the skill set for this. I'm sure there was a lot of learning as you went. And so
Mhm,
how did you know, how important and I get this sense from you that continuous improvement is how you have landed up where you are today. And so
mhm.
can you tell us, give us some ideas about continuous improvement and how to approach that so that we don't feel overwhelmed or demotivated?
I would say no one's perfect. If you wait to write the perfect book, you're never going to write a book. And I had to realize that. I had to realize that, I have to be patient. I play sports. I'm very competitive. I want the best, so you have to understand that, hey, trust the process. And I think within this whole book journey, it's been trusting the process, being patient and knowing that there's no perfect book. There's not a perfect.
Yeah, yeah. And trusting the process, I
Mhm.
think part of that is probably leveraging your network, right? So when you say trust the process, it doesn't mean hide away in your attic or your garage or your basement and write this book and don't tell anyone you're writing it. I think what you mean is trust that you will find the right people, trust that you will be able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. And
Yeah.
so it sounds like, well, and as a professional athlete, I'm sure leveraging networks was incredibly important to you. So, what advice do you have around leveraging networks?
Well, when it comes to leveraging my network, I mean it's huge. It's huge. I'm the woman that played 12 years in the WNBA, and I can count with one hand how many friends I had because I wasn't into speaking to people. I was focused on becoming an MVP every year. So I lived in the gym. I didn't understand the power of relationship, the power of people. So even though Mark Cuban or Magic Johnson would be at our practice, I didn't really, that wasn't a concern for me. I was just trying to be an all-star. But when I retired and I started, the transitioning process wasn't as smooth. I realized that I had missed that opportunity on maximizing my platform by having awareness and being about people. But now, since I've left the WNBA, I'm all about people. I love to meet people. I don't like to make it transactional. I really want to get to know you. Like, what is your story? So I've become, and that's why I call the book Transform, because I went from being a mute to becoming someone that can't even stop talking now. I love meeting people. So having this newfound network of people that I can rely on that want to support me in this journey. Former player from I'm in a group chat with over 300 retired WNBA players. I have all these. I'm able to leverage these things with what I'm doing now, and we're able to help each other. So understanding the power of relationships and the power of people and knowing how to leverage that is key to any success you're going to have in life.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. So just keep building that network. Keep building that network, right? So don't be mute and build. So I guess I really want to wrap up with this question. You have given so much advice today. You've given like so many insights. So if somebody is sitting there and they're thinking, well, now what do I do? Do you
Mhm.
have some very practical take this step, take this step, take this step to implement some of the things we've talked about today?
Yes, I would say my call to action for anyone listening would be what I mentioned earlier: embrace the setback, fuel the comeback. Encourage women or men, whoever's watching, encourage them to just challenge, like get them to view challenge not as an end, but as a fuel to ignite their next chapter is what I did. Use that
Yeah.
to fuel your next chapter. Transforming adversity into strength and purpose is what I did. And then I would say too is turn your pain into power. Turn your circumstances into success. Don't sit in it. Turn it into something that can be good to someone else. Remind people in every loss lies opportunity for personal growth, you know? And then lastly, I love to finish with this one: redefine your story, reclaim your strength. All these things is what I was able to do, and that's why in the book Transform, the winning side of losing. There's a win and loss. Even when I would lose basketball games, as long as I learned the lesson, I was able to take, even in a losing situation, I was able to find wins in that by making adjustments. And it's the same thing with life. So I would say redefine your story and reclaim your strength. So those would be my three call to action.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Marie. And if you're looking for Marie, you'll find her at marieferdinand.com, and her book is Transformed. Marie, thank you for showing up with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Melody, for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Absolutely. Me too. All right. Thank you for joining us on Author Nation interviews today. I hope this conversation has provided you with valuable insights. I know it has me. I'm also feeling inspired. I hope you are too. Because this nonfiction author journey can be challenging at times.
Mm.
Remember to visit authornation.com for your resources. And I really love your feedback. I love your support. Thank you so much for it. Remember, if this episode has provided you with value, leave a comment, leave a review, and don't forget to share it with fellow authors, because there's someone out there who needs it. And your participation helps us continue to deliver these insights and the tools you need to succeed. So keep writing, keep creating, and keep sharing your unique stories with the world.